Coach, appreciate you joining us. Obviously coming off of Jack's week, kind of what's your thoughts on kind of what you guys were able to accomplish last week? Whether it's getting healthy, kind of tuning some things up. Kind of your thoughts there.
I thought it was a very successful week for us, and happened about the right time there, midway through the season. So obviously have some bumps and bruises. We need to get some guys back, and several guys that are on that IR a little bit, and I think we're going to be able to get a few of them back, and a couple of guys get a little fresher. Took some off their legs and everything last week. So had a good practice this morning, and pretty crisp and bouncing around a little bit. So I think it was good. But more importantly, we built a lot of reps and did a lot of things for the future. And that future may be Saturday. It may be 3 weeks from now. We may be talking 3 years from now. But just pouring a lot of time and effort into our young guys, and the 2s, 3s, and 4s, and getting some great reps there. And then really getting after it in the weight room, building broad shoulders, strong backs for the future. So I thought all in all it was a really good week. We were able to get on the road and see a bunch of recruits and commits out there that we usually don't always get to. We usually have football family Fridays on Friday night. So that was good to get out and out in East Texas and elsewhere to see some guys. And so put a lot of miles on the vehicles there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and saw a lot of really good high school and junior college players. So that was good as a staff, and then catch our breath a little bit too. Football season's a grind, as they call it, the grind. But it was good just to spend a little more time with family and slow down a little bit there this weekend. So all in all, just a very successful Jacks week.
And kind of the halfway point of the season, kind of thinking back to maybe before the season, fall camp, whether it was things people were saying about your team or maybe your internal thoughts with your coaching staff. Is there anything at this point of the season where you look and you go, hey, maybe not necessarily surprised, but very pleased with how that developed through the first however many weeks, or maybe even some areas that you want to see maybe your team, push down on the gas a little bit?
Yeah, just disappointed we're not 6-0. Going to every game thinking we're going to win them all, and wish we could have. But we are where we are for a reason. But I think you've seen us grow and get better throughout the year. Which, as a coach, that's what you want to see. They don't hand out any trophies the first week of the season. The preseason polls mean jack squat and everything. So what you want to see as a coach, and I think should be the goal of every team, is to be the very best team that you possibly can be. Does that mean a championship or a national championship or playoffs or whatever? Some teams, the very best they can be is 500, just with the roster they have, the limitations they have, and what have you, year to year. So just being the very best team that you can be. And I think that's the thing I'm probably most proud of this team right now, is I really can go back and feel like we can go back as a staff and see each week. I think we've gotten a little bit better each week, and I think that's showing up on the scoreboard as well. And so that's our challenge, is to keep doing that, to be the very best version that we can be. And I thought, Coach Moots had a great point this morning, early morning meetings, and he showed the video of the 2009 Kentucky Derby. And that was a Kentucky Derby. It's raining, there's mud everywhere, and I mean, man, off those horses go. Biggest horse race on the planet, and man, they go halfway around, then he just shut it off. And he asked the defense. He said, "Who won?" And who won the 2009 Kentucky Derby? And no one had an answer. And y'all know after what I've told you? No, the race was only half over. Who won? No one cares about who's who halfway through. It's about how you finish. And so the point being, with our team, hey, we've done some good things. We've gotten better each week. No one cares. No one's going to care in December where you were October the 13th. And so let's get better each day. Let's keep, running our race, taking care of us, being the very best version that the 2025 Lumberjacks can be. And I think we do that, we'll all have a Merry Christmas.
And Coach, you talked about during the opening statement on Jack's week being able to get some of these younger guys reps that they maybe wouldn't be able to get during a game week. Just could you go a little bit further into depth on that?
Yeah, what we did is just a lot of we still did good on good. We had 3 practices last week, and we went full pads, and it was live action, real tackle football that you don't see in practice very often anymore. And so it was really good for us to see, there wasn't many ones getting many of those reps because they put in some work, but 2s, 3s, and 4s out there just really getting after it. And it's great work for everybody. Who can block, who can get off blocks, who can tackle, who can make people miss, and then just, some of our down the road quarterbacks, getting some live action reps, reading defenses and calling plays and getting us out of bad situations and into better plays and everything. So that was really good for us. And so again, we broke it down as a staff. We gave all players one of 3 different, kind of tags as to what we wanted out of this week. Hey, they are injured, have plenty of reps. They need to get rest, recovery. That's it. 2, they're healthy, need some indie work, need a little bit of teamwork. And then 3, let's full board development. And so we tried to structure our practices, our workouts, our treatment time meetings around, those 3 groups of players where everybody got something out of it. It would have done no good for those guys that are pounded all year and have, 600 snaps underneath their belt right now to go out there and, bang heads for 3 practices, full pads. So, we just kind of arranged it to where we felt like we could get each individual player better through Jack's week, and I think we did. And now it's game week again, and so obviously that's in the rear view, and we're got a little bit of an extra practice this morning to install some stuff on Nicholls and turning the page to them.
Yeah, and then you talked about some guys potentially getting them back off IR. Any names that you expect to be back this week?
They'll all be healthy.
Okay.
Yeah, so everyone will be healthy and ready to go. This isn't NFL. We don't have to talk about injuries or who's playing. If Nicholls tells me who's playing, who's back from their injury report, I'll tell them who's back from ours. But in the meantime, our guys are working hard. Now there'll be some guys that are back full go, and there'll be some guys that are still 85, 90%. But I think you'll see a good, we'll fill a good sideline, and we'll be ready to go Saturday.
Yeah, and then you talked about it going up against Nicholls on Saturday. Obviously, going into this game on a 4-game winning streak, and Nicholls, haven't had the season they necessarily wanted to, but got that Week 1 win over UIW. Mm-hmm. So just talk about that matchup and what you're going to get.
They've been if people want to compare records and everything else, and you can do that, and that's a good way to just get flat embarrassed on homecoming. So you don't. Fans, players, coach, everybody has a tendency to do that. If we'd have done that 2 weeks ago. Well, we got beat by Abilene. And then UIW smashed Abilene Christian. So why even play that game? UIW's going to kill us. And, you tee it up and play the game to see who the best team is between those 2 on that given Saturday night. So I know this. They got a very physical ball club. We had to work our tail off last year to win down there, and we got beat up in doing so. We lost Sam for the year. We talked about that, and again, it was a clean play. I mean, it's just a physical game, and they grown different down there in South Louisiana now. So they got some monsters down there, and they've got a defense I feel like is the most talented defense we have faced since Houston. And they play well. They did. They came out of the gates and beat the brakes off of UIW. They've played 2 money games. They played Nicholls, had Nicholls beat. And Nicholls scored late in the 4th quarter to win. They played over at Texas State. Our old trainer down there, A.J. Van Valkenburg. I said, how's Nicholls? He's like, a lot better than you want him to be. So, they're a good football team. In our league, there's a bunch of good teams. And you can look at the standings right now, and you can look at the standings at the end of the year, what have you. The difference between first place and last place and in the Southland Conference is all of about 10 or 14 points. And so it's going to be a battle, a 60-minute, hard-fought, physical football game. I don't know. 2 good defense. It may be first 1 to 10 wins. It may be 50 to 49. I don't know, but it's going to be a good football game. We're excited to play in front of our homecoming crowd, and all that brings and entails. And so I think it should be a fun weekend, fun and atmosphere here at Homer Bryce Saturday about 6 p.m.
Yeah, that was going to be my next question. Obviously, with it being homecoming weekend, what are you expecting from the crowd over at Homer Bryce?
Well, we had a record-setting crowd the last home game, with family weekend, and so I'd expect more of the same. I bet there'll be, 10, 12, 13,000 people there. We're playing well, got a good year going. There's a lot going on in town with other sports and everything else. So, there's a bonfire. My kids are fired up every time we drive down Star. They see those pallets all stacked up. Oh, I don't know if they care who wins Saturday night, but they are fired up for about 8:30 on Friday evening, light that bonfire and get that thing going. But there's a lot going on. Everybody always asks about distractions. I don't think it is a distraction for football teams. If you do a good job, you've got your routine, you're going to do it week in, week out. It's just instead of going out there and it's just a bigger crowd. So I get you a little bit more excited and play to your advantage. And I expect it to do that. So we need everybody out there. Come out, show up, be loud and proud for the Lumberjacks, and let's pack Homer Bryce there Saturday night, 6 p.m.
Yeah, I do have one more question. Just
one more. That's it. Then we're done.
We're done after this. The momentum-wise, obviously, like I said, coming into this week on a 4-game winning streak, obviously went into the bye week. Just talk about picking back up that momentum that you guys were able to bring into the bye week heading into this game against Nicholls.
Yeah, well, at 6 p.m. on Sunday, I'm going to look up that scoreboard and see if momentum got us any points. I bet it's 0-0. There's 60 minutes on the clock, and the guys are excited. But again, that you get about 24 hours to enjoy a 1-game win streak. And the fact that we've won 4 in a row. I don't know that anybody really pays attention to that in our locker room or in this profession. You've got to have focus on the next game, and so you give everybody about 24 hours to enjoy it. Think about win or lose, and as a head coach, everybody asks me, are you going to enjoy this weekend after that big win? You enjoy a win about as long as it takes to shake the other coach's hand. And then you're worried to get everybody off the field. Is the post-game meal showed up? Or the bus is going to roll? And so it's a little bit different, but the windshield's bigger than the rear view for a reason. And so all that and the 4 games and UIW, that's all in the past. If we want to keep thinking about that and talking about, we're this and that and the other, that's when, you get smacked and lose one that you shouldn't. And so we've got to just be focused on the Colonels. They're a very solid football team, very physical, like we talked about defensively. Coach Rybecki, first-year coach, he's got them fired up. They're playing hard for him. You can see they're beat up. If they were healthy, it'd be a totally different matchup on paper. But I'm sure they're getting some guys back. But they play hard for that guy. And so they've got great culture in Nicholls and down there in Thibodaux. So it should be a good football game out here at Homer Bryce. I hope everybody shows up.
Appreciate you, Coach.
Thank you, Axel.